Do any Irish County Tartans or even Welsh ones have weathered versions?
No.
Nope. Not yet.
The Irish County collection, done by House of Edgar, it was a very, very unique collection done with the soft colors to reflect the soft rolling hills and blah blah blah. Insert marketing shtick here. But they're attractive tartans. They all, they sell reasonably well depending on where your family's from and whatnot. But there's no plans for any of them to have a different variation. I'd say the same thing probably goes with the Welsh Tartans. It also, from an industry standpoint, there's also the variable of how many of them do they sell with existing numbers. Is it strong enough, or has there been enough feedback for, I really like Edwards, but the blue is just too bright. I want a darker blue or a different shade of gray or whatever. If every single person said that, sure, they might offer another variant. But if there's not an outcry, then no. You got to remember that the color palettes for tartans are a recent-esque thing for mills to be able to give a secondary choice, a third choice, a fourth choice even, for different color palettes. So if you're a Buchanan and they sell a ton of Buchanan cloth, but they get a lot of complaints about Buchanan modern, then let's do an ancient version. And then, well, let's do the weathered version because it looks kind of different, but it's the same tartan. Right. And then let's do muted and give them another option. So it's different. Yeah, it's a different thing with tartans like the Irish County Tartans or the Welsh Tartans, where they don't sell as many of them as they would like Buchanan for a particular tartan.
Yeah, I would say that basically, bear in mind that tartan color-wise is a heraldic code. So historically, you did not specify light red, almost an amber, and green like an emerald. It was just red, green, blue, yellow. Heraldic speak, it's just, and then artistic interpretation comes later, but officially it's just the primary colors. It's only recently that people have started getting more picky and more creative with saying, okay, we want this to be a light tan, and we want this to be more of a burnt umber when they're designing tartans. There's much more creativity now because there are options because of the technology that's advanced. And that's why House of Edgar was able to do what they did when they did the county tartans. And they're gorgeous, by the way. I will always recommend the Irish County Tartans. So, yeah, the idea of then taking that and saying we need a weathered version is not going to be as likely as where you have something which is just people get bored with because it's primary colors, it's very basic, it's very blocky, it's very standardized, and you want something that has more nuance to it. Modern tartans, a lot of time, will already have more nuance in them because people are able to be more creative with specifying the colors. I'm sure that sometimes, like if it's a corporate tartan, they probably get so far as like to say, this is going to be Pantone 21, this is going to be Pantone 73, and very, very nailed down. Like if it's somebody like a big corporation who's registering it. So I'd say over time, it's possible that maybe something like some of the Welsh tartans might get a modified version of them, but it's more likely that somebody will decide they want to have a representation of the same thing, but they'll come up with an entirely new tartan in somber tones or weathered tones, dark tones or something to give it a different feel entirely. Okay, so you'll have like, the spirit of, the battle of such and such, and they'll choose to make it a weathered tartan, as opposed to saying, well, let's do a weathered version of a county tartan. Does that make sense?
Yes, I would actually, I'm going to be a little bit more cynical and take it a slightly different track as well.
Okay.
When it comes to the Buchanan tartan, McDonald, Stewart, whatever, there's no copyright on the McDonald tartan or on the Stewart tartan. So I, as a mill, am going to offer the modern version the same as the other mills do. I'm going to offer an ancient version the same as the other mills do. When it comes to the Welsh Tartans, when it comes to the Irish Tartans, those are owned by one particular entity. So if I'm that entity, I own it. I don't have to come up with a different color variant because then I'm just competing with myself versus competing with somebody else. Now, In the instance of, let's say, the Patriot Tartan from Loch Heron, they do have Patriot Weathered, Patriot Modern, Patriot Ancient, where they've come up with their own color palettes or different color palettes for it, because that one design has proved reasonably popular, and then they come up with different color palettes. And it's a universal tartan, so anybody can wear it. But when it comes to copyrighted designs, there's less incentive, for lack of a better term, for the mill to come up with a new color palette, because they already own it, so why change it? They just have to carry twice as much cloth.
Right, and they don't want to cannibalize themselves
Yes.
by offering too many different options. Yeah. So
Yep.
I think more likely you'll see something like Spirit of the Easter Rising will become a tartan someday. You know what I mean? Or Glendore's Greatest Battle Heritage Tartan, commemorative tartan will be a thing, but you won't see weathered versions of things that already exist. Hey, are you Irish? Did you find that interesting? Do you want to do more with kilts and your Irish heritage? If so, check out this playlist of the history of Irish kilts and culture. Or if you're Welsh, we have a playlist about Welsh kilts too. Either way, have a great day.